we're back. This is Elliott Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamline Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us here on the Comic Culture Warrior YouTube channel, where Jose and I talk about all things comics, reviews, and all that good stuff. So, another review. We'll hit this really quick just because Mr. Parker was wondering what we'd think of it. Agents of Atlas number 2. If you've seen our review of Agents of Atlas number 1, we enjoyed it. I know you liked it more than I did. I said that with Agents of Atlas number 1, I wasn't so vested in the characters. So while I did enjoy the book, I wasn't, like crazy for it.
But now you have a feeling of
the
characters and what
yes,
they're about.
I have much more of a feeling for them. And issue number 2, I enjoyed much more. There was much more humor here.
Yeah.
Not that there wasn't humor in the first issue. And again, Namora, total badass. She is a badass.
It's kind of funny that in 2 issues of Agents of Atlas, Jeff Parker already makes Namora the number 1 badass in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, she can kick some serious tuchus.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. The art is just incredible.
The
I'm
artwork
a
is
big
great.
fan of the art. Even there's 2 artists working on the book. One for the flashbacks and one for the current timeline. But man, the art is just great on it.
It is. It's done really well. The flashbacks especially, they're done in a different style of artwork, and it works.
This is the same artist that did, I think, the flashback in the last issue with the Wolverine story.
The Wolverine story?
Yeah.
Okay. And it works perfectly as far as setting the tone. I mean, the colorists does a great job of capturing the sepia tones. And it just works. It just really works. The transition between modern time and past time isn't jarring at all. It makes sense within the context.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they're kind of interweaving the stories that they're going on at the same time.
Unlike the Thunderbolts that we reviewed last week, where the art just
right.
So,
but it makes more sense in the context here, where the flashbacks look like they're supposed. I mean, that's the great thing, is that it breaks up the book. You know exactly what part you're reading because it's so different.
Right. So
visually,
needless to say, Agents of Atlas is quickly growing on me as it's a fun read. It's a good book. The artwork is great. The characterizations are solid. This Agents of Atlas group,
badass part of the book right there.
It's fitting in nicely. You can see that Parker is quickly figuring out the role that these characters play within the Marvel universe, and specifically within the Dark Reign, the Norman Osborn.
Yeah, they're pretty much setting themselves up to be the arms dealer. For Hammer.
Yeah.
So
they are trying to, but that's the facade. That's
exactly,
because
they're trying to get in the good graces of Osborn, so they can keep him at arm's length at least.
Right. So, a great book. In fact, I'd like to see Jeff Parker. Jeff, if you could do Aquaman now for DC, and take Arthur Curry and make him a badass, because it seems like no one seems to be able to do that with Arthur Curry and Aquaman. And again, in just 2 issues, as you said, Namora is a total badass. I love her. I mean, she's great, and I'm buying everything. So
especially when she takes the helicopter and smashes it over the grizzly's head. It's pretty awesome.
It is pretty cool. So, Agents of Atlas number 2. Rocks. And then another book, and this book I just got into via the recommendation of one of our viewers, Locus Mortis. Johnny Horror? I'm sorry. Johnny Horror. Captain Britain and MI13. Damn. Why haven't I been reading this book?
Well, I said the same thing when I read the first 4 issues.
Yeah.
I was like, what? It was always one of those books that was on my radar, and I liked Captain Britain, but there was just so much stuff coming out. And on top of that, I think the number 1 problem that I probably had, I can't remember that far back, it was only 8 months ago, was that it was launching during Secret Invasion, which I just absolutely hated.
Yes.
So you stick it in the Secret Invasion already, and I'm already like,
yeah, right.
But
it works.
Maybe the best story out of Secret Invasion.
Yes, it was. You are absolutely right. The Thor Secret Invasion mini that Matt Fraction did was the one miniseries out of all the Secret Invasion minis that I enjoyed. of the continuing series that launched in Secret Invasion, I have to say Captain Britain and MI13 takes the premise of Secret Invasion and uses it to its fullest. And the other part that I love the most about this is you didn't have to know what was going on in the other books to be able to follow this.
Yes.
You know, you just know that the Skrulls are invading. Okay, you know that they're taking over everything, and Britain is on its own. They need to figure out how they're going to handle it. Mm-hmm. And even in the very beginning of the first issue, I know there's a lot of issues have come out since this, but
issue 11 comes out.
Issue 11 comes out. But just speaking the premise, I even like how one of the characters says, "Why are they hitting us so hard? America's got all the superheroes. So what's going on here?" Right off the bat, addressing something that I would go, wait a minute, why are they hitting Britain so hard? They have 3 superheroes, 2 superheroes. So
the Siege Perilous.
There is the Siege Perilous, exactly, because Britain in the Marvel U is the center of all magic. But then you have the Black Knight, who is cool. Yeah. Cool. Spitfire. Awesome. Really cool. Pete Wisdom, who, you're just reading this book and all these characters working together. It seems so obvious that they should be together. And Paul Cornell does this wonderful job taking all these different personalities and putting them there and letting them interact with each other. This felt like Marvel Universe via the BBC to me.
And in the second, I think it was the second issue, one of the things that just from being a fan of Captain Britain, which he kind of draws a corollary or a contradiction between superheroes in the United States and superheroes in Britain. When something bad happens to a superhero in the United States, the population hears about it over the media. But when Captain Britain gets taken down, the entire country feels it.
Yes. Well, as what you're saying is, when Steve Rogers died, the Americans heard about it during the media. When Captain Britain died, we felt it in our hearts.
Yeah. And I just thought that was a really great line.
Yes, exactly. It was a really great line. I really, really enjoy this book, and I don't know why I haven't been reading it up to now, and I'm going to be reading it.
And I do like the play in the 4th issue on kind of like what Bendis' story about how Pete Wisdom gets one wish.
Yes.
For Britain.
Yeah.
And he says, "No more Skrulls."
No more Skrulls, pretty much.
It's pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome. It was perfect. It was. And these first 4 issues set up the whole premise. It uses a Skrull invasion. Leonard Kirk's art in this book is
pretty good.
Now I loved his stuff that he did for DC. Mm-hmm. He worked on Bloodhound for DC too, and he is a perfect artist for this. The altogether just a solid book. And again, I don't know why I didn't read it before, but I'm certainly going to read it now.
Actually, the first trade paperback softcover came out for it like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it collects the first 4 issues. So, and then it collects 2 old Marvel fanfare stories, I think, in the back. But since I haven't read, I'm going to pick up the rest of the issues this week. I just want Union Jack to show up at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Because Union Jack is...
and I need to... And there's a scene in here which goes back to the conversation that Lord Bifford and I have been having when...
Oh, it doesn't happen in this issue.
Yeah, it happens in this issue.
Oh, right there, yeah.
Where Spitfire is fighting the Skrulls, and this is in the heat of combat, and the Skrulls are coming after her, and she goes, "I'm going to have to do something I don't want to do." And she goes up, she kills a Skrull, rips his throat out, because this Skrull is like just devastating the land around her. And she says, "It's not who I am." Again, because she's a hero and she doesn't want to kill. And I love also how at the end of the Skrull invasion, when the whole thing is resolved, Pete Wisdom says, "We're going to handle this, now that they've released all, ultimate darkness across Britain and London, because we're going to handle this, but we're not going to kill." So I'm on board with this. Agents of Atlas, Captain Britain, thumbs up. Read them. You should. And we'll be back.